Hola amigos y amigas. Javier here for Hum of the Earth, signing in from the town of Tota, Boyaca, which is its own town on the Tota Lake, Laguna de Tota, one of the more famous places to visit in the Department of Boyaca. So all the footage that you see in this video will be of the town of Tota. And the reason why I'm not doing a tour in history of the town of Tota is because I've already made a few other videos of the towns around the lake, such as Aquitania, Cuitiva, and Iza. And because of their proximity, they will have a similar history. So you can check out those videos if you want to see the history of the towns of Tota Lake. And I've also made another video of my adventures hitchhiking around Tota Lake, where you get to see a lot of different views of the biggest lake in Colombia. And you can find all those videos linked in a playlist that is linked in the description below this video. And speaking of that adventure, hitchhiking around Tota Lake, I think it's a great example of the safety in the Department of Boyaca. I feel like it's a great representation of the department as a whole. So when I first arrived to Aquitania on Tota Lake, I realized that taking all bus rides to every town and place on the lake that I wanted to get to was going to be a little bit more expensive than I had planned, and I actually hadn't brought enough money to do that. So I decided I was going to hitchhike. And it proved to be very easy. It never took more, except for maybe at the end of the day, more than like 3 to 5 cars to pass by before someone would pick me up. The first man who picked me up actually was heading to his farm, which was up in the mountains, and he offered his hospitality for me to even go stay at his house. So he was very nice. And then later in the day, there was 2 young men who picked me up. And usually when you're traveling, or at least in Colombia in general, I'm sometimes weary of younger men because they're often the demographic that maybe something not so pleasant could happen to you. But they were very nice, and they were actually collecting trash and going to, or metal, and going to sell it in Sogamoso, the biggest nearby city, which is actually where I've been living for the month that I spent in Boyaca. So yeah, so basically all that to say that just the fact that it's so easy to hitchhike, and I've hitchhiked in other parts of Boyaca, including north of Villa de Leyva, and it's something that you can't really do everywhere in Colombia. I've tried it in other parts, and people were not picking me up in some parts that were maybe more dangerous. So back to Sogamoso, which is not the capital of Boyaca. Tunja is the capital. I was staying in Sogamoso only because from a geography standpoint, it was a great home base where there was a lot of towns around there to visit, and I visit the majority of them. And the city itself was very, very safe, I felt. And I was living right downtown. I visited pretty much everywhere in the city, and I never felt unsafe at any point. And part of the reason why I think it felt so safe in Sogamoso, despite the fact that, it's not like the richest city in Colombia by any stretch of the imagination, or even that well off compared to the continent in general, is that most people were still had homes and had jobs and stuff like that probably, and there wasn't that many people that were homeless in the streets, even though that's a pretty common theme throughout the country of Colombia as a whole, mostly because of the Venezuelan refugee crisis. And that pattern of Sogamoso kind of is repeated throughout the Department of Boyaca, and I think it is because of the weather. Because it is colder in Boyaca, it's at higher altitude in the Andes, and it often rains a lot of the year, and just the weather doesn't make it favorable for someone who hasn't secured housing. So I think that's one of the reasons why the department is very safe as a whole. The reason might just be cultural, and the fact that there isn't huge cities. Like, it's mostly smaller towns where everybody knows each other, so nobody would want to do something criminal because everyone would just kind of know you and remember you. So it has a more of a small town feel than some other places in Colombia. And yeah, the department, and like I mentioned, I've been to a lot of towns. And when I went to those towns, I also went for hikes, usually hiking the nearest mountain that was overlooking whichever town I was visiting that day. And yeah, I never felt unsafe. And I was, in fairly remote areas where if someone saw me and they wanted to rob me, it would be fairly easy to do so because there would be nobody around to help me. And I never even feared that that would happen there. And yeah, nothing happened. Nothing even came close to happening. There wasn't even a situation where that looked a certain way where I felt like maybe they would consider trying to rob me or something like that. I never had anything like that happen, which I definitely can't say for the country of Colombia as a whole. So yeah, that was one of the reasons why I really enjoyed living in and visiting the Department of Boyaca. Of course, not the main reason, just the scenery, how nice the people were, the amount. There's just so many small towns that are really nice to visit that have their own character and well-preserved architecture from colonial times, and just amazing hiking that you can do from basically any town in the department, given that, once again, we are in the Colombian Andes. And yeah, also that colder weather kind of lends itself really well to hiking because when you're exercising, you don't want it to be too hot outside or else you wouldn't have the energy to hike all day. So yeah, I had a great experience in Boyaca, and I've made many videos of my time in Boyaca that you can find linked in the description below this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and or leave a comment letting me know what you thought about the video. Like I mentioned, there are a lot more videos of Boyaca that I've made that you can find in the description below this video. There's also a link to another playlist of the time that I bicycled through Colombia, which is part of a larger trip bicycling through Latin America. I've also bicycled through Eastern Africa and Central and Eastern Europe, and I have playlists for all those countries that I've bicycled through available on this very same YouTube channel, Hum of the Earth. Alternatively, if you'd like to see an interactive map of everywhere that I went and everything that I got to see and do, I have that map available over on my website, followthehumoftheearth.com. Where you can click on the different locations and see the various blog posts and videos that I've made of those places. And if you'd like to follow my continuing adventures through Colombia and beyond, you can do so by clicking on the red subscribe button and clicking on the bell to be notified when new videos come out. Alright, so that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.